Hey, Lord Henry, welcome. Hey, welcome to the stream. Sorry, I'm going to be in and out. I'm trying to grab some dinner here quickly before we start. And didn't really have much time to be able to grab anything for dinner tonight, so just eating some leftover stuff from my charcuterie tray I made last night. I'm not sure it's bugged. I just don't think that you're going to get the same options that you're able to. Because if they went hostile, then Mizora might not show up at your camp at all, because she wanted you to speak to him first. So what would normally happen in this scenario is you would go in there and you would have the encounter with Gortash, and he's going to be in there. Lord Ravengard's going to be in there, and you end up killing him. And then you go back, talk to Mizora, and you get a much different set of dialogue. At least I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I don't think he's going to be at the other location. No spoilers. Because we didn't talk to Gortash up there. So I don't think he's going to be at that other location when we get to it. That's right, she will for right now. She did the same thing for me because she wants you to go talk to him. Since you're not going to be able to, what will happen is you will end up going in there and you will have a fight with Gortash and Ravengard, and I'm going to experiment and see what that fight entails. I don't know if I'll be able to knock him out. I don't know if I'll be able to, do something to keep him from dying. But if he does die, then once you talk to Mizora, she's going to not have a deal to make with you. Because that's her whole concept, is that she wants to make a deal with you to be able to rescue him. But since you don't need him rescued, that just means that Will becomes Duke Ravengard, and there might be some other dialogue options with her. But one way or another, we'll just have to see how it plays out, because I'm in the same situation here with the Bard. We're going to go through and get we're going to get itemed up and get some buffs here, and then we're going to be skipping ahead and making our way over to the Steel Watch Foundry next week to be able to deal with that, so that then we can come back to Worm's Rock and have that encounter. And you'll get to see how that plays out. That's how dice rolls go. But every time you do one, every time something like that happens, you learn from it. And if you want to keep it like I am here, then you keep it. If not, I mean, if this was my own personal playthrough, you could have, reloaded a previous save. But yes, definitely all three of those. And I know y'all like to see the bad and the crazy part. Yeah, Lord Henry, I think I'm pretty sure I know how it's going to play out, but I will do some testing offline, probably next week, and see what happens after I take care of the Steel Watch Foundry and then go back there, what happens. But like I say, I'm pretty sure I already know how it's going to play out. Welcome, everyone, to today's live stream, episode number 44 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Bard gameplay series. I'm Commander Jorval, and I want to thank you all for coming along on our journey today. So, not much in the way of admin notes for the game. As I mentioned over the weekend, for those of you who do not follow either the Paladin or the Honor Mode playthrough, the city in which I live experienced a really bad storm on Thursday of last week, and we are still recovering from that. We had almost 1 million people without power after the evening of. We still have 65,000 people here in our city without power, and it's going to take a lot of recovery. There's a lot of damage in the tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars worth of property damage throughout the city. And as I did last week, or this weekend, I want to send out my heartfelt well wishes to all of my fellow Estonians, and know that we're all here together and we're all dealing with it and we're all going to help each other get through it. So on that note, we've been fairly stable here with the internet over the weekend and through the start of the week, as well as our power, so hopefully we're not going to have any problems. But there are still major power and internet issues going on throughout the city, so hopefully we'll be okay today, but we'll just play it by ear and see how it goes. So, on our recap, at the end of last week's episode, we had really just made it into the lower city. We'd had our encounter with Answer, picked up a couple of really good items, and we had invisibility flown our way through Worm's Rock, which is completely hostile towards us, and talked to Mazora outside, who is now moved outside of Worm's Rock and is now just outside the lower city, and we made our way into the lower city. We're going to prioritize getting to the western side of this area so that we can deal with the Steel Watch Foundry. You do not want to kill Gortash before you deal with the Steel Watch Foundry. There's a reason for that, which I'll explain once we get further into that. But before we move over there, we're going to take care of a few things today that are one, either time sensitive, like the Baldur's Mouth Gazette, or two, give us some good items and or buffs that we want to take with us before we go into the Steel Watcher Foundry. We are not going to do all of the stuff kind of sequentially or in order here, or geographically moving from the east to the west like we're doing in the Paladin playthrough. We're going to prioritize the Steel Watch Foundry, but before we do that, we want to make sure that we are buffed up, and that means that we want to also try and get ourselves to level 12 if we can. We don't want to spend a whole lot of time doing that, but if we can get there, that would certainly be a benefit to us to be able to do it. So let's go ahead and jump in here. Hey Andy, welcome. No, I did not have time to go back and test any of the counterspell stuff. Haven't had time to do it early this week, and I don't know if I'll have time to really deal with it later this week either, before getting ready for this weekend, but we'll see. So here we are in the lower city. We've unlocked the Basilisk Gate waypoint here that is available to us. Now we have a time-sensitive quest here that we want to do, and we'll go over here and talk to Estra.
How delightful to meet in person. Though, you're shorter than I expected. My name's Estrester, journalist. I speak to the people of Baldur's Gate so our readers don't have to. You are quite correct. The best broadsheet around. I would certainly recommend picking up a copy in the near future. You are, after all, the star of the next Baldur's Mouth Gazette. No one ever does, my sweet. But look on the bright side. You'll be famous. It's our juiciest edition in an age bound to get everyone talking about you. Darling, we can't let the readers decide what the content is. We've editors for that. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've really said rather too much and written rather too little. Good day.
Damn, that's going to start the Stop the Presses quest. And here, we're set to star in the next edition of the Baldur's Mouth Gazette. We should find out why. Now, we are not actually going to find out why, because finding out why is going to make it a lot harder to complete this. But the reason that we're going to star in it is because the operator of the Baldur's Mouth Gazette has taken instructions from Gortash to write a bad story about us and to make our reputation fall here in the city. And we need to stop that. So to do that, we're going to head straight into the Baldur's Mouth Gazette. Now, the Baldur's Mouth Gazette is right here.
Don't tell our writers that. Their egos are big enough as it is.
Only Lord Gortash can protect us from the world and atrocity of the
Okay, there are various guards that are out here. There are also various employees. We're going to go in the front door here. Now you can see that Baldur's Mouth has 3 levels here. There's this split level here. There's this ground level where we came in. There's also another level up here that leads out here into this area. There's a ladder which goes up to the roof, and these are all... This is an alternate way in here. If you choose the way the game wants you to play, I guess, so to speak. The way the game wants you to do this is to find out why, and to do that you would talk to Ettvard Needle down here. He's the editor, and he will tell you that he's writing a bad story about you, and he will kick you out. Now what will happen then is that everyone in here will be watching for you to enter into this place. And as soon as you come back in through the doors will be marked as red. You come back in here, as soon as you are seen, everyone will go hostile against you. You have a fight on your hands, you can deal with that fight however you want. But it's much easier if you don't talk to Ettvard. If you don't talk to Ettvard, then the whole thing doesn't ever get kicked off that way. And you can wander around here on these 3 areas, or these 3 floors here, without causing any problems. Now, there are still some doors that are marked red, and if you interact with those doors or go through them, then you're going to make people angry, and you're going to have an attitude drop because of it, to the point where if you do it multiple times, you can have everybody here go hostile. We're not going to do that, though. What we're going to do is we're going to go through the building here, and we're going to pick up some items stealthily. And then we are going to head downstairs and have an encounter down there. Okay. The things that we're going to pick up stealthily here are printing press templates. There's a story that's being written about us. We want to write another story. And there are 9 different stories that you can possibly print here. And you need 9 different templates to be able to find them all. You don't have to find them all. You only really need to find one. And we could skip all the ones up here and go straight downstairs instead. However, I'm going to show you how to get them all, just so that you can decide which of them you would like to use. But there's really one of them that has a benefit that you want to use, and it's downstairs. So first of all, what I'm going to do here is kind of break my group, and the first thing that we need to search is this wicker basket. You can see the detection cones are covering it, and that's because the guard here is looking at it. So we're going to talk to the guard.
You ever heard of this many guards for a bloody broadsheet? It's ridiculous.
Hey, and that's going to turn him, and as soon as we do that, we're going to go into turn-based
Whatever
mode.
comes, I'm ready. I must keep going.
Shadowheart's going to move over here. She's going to go into hiding.
Have to keep low.
Now she can steal from the wicker basket, and there's our first one, the Grave Robber's Spree.
Let's get going. These boots have seen everything.
Okay, so the next one that we want to get is down here. Now this one can be a little tricky. It's in this wicker basket here behind the Steel Watcher, and sometimes this Steel Watcher can be a little tricky, and he will sometimes turn around and look at you when you interact with this. But first we need to get the detection cone from the guard here to be
Long way to go
moved.
Hang on, you're not allowed down in the basement. Only Master Needle is permitted access to the printworks.
Then we can go into turn-based mode, and you can again see the detection cone has shifted, so we're freed up. Now,
Can't give up
again, what I said previously is that sometimes this Steel Watcher can turn here. Okay. So here we have the finest shanties of the Blushing Mermaid, which is our second one. So we're going to take it. Okay, so we're still fine. And now the third one up here is in this wicker basket here. Now this one's actually fairly straightforward. So the detection cone is actually coming from Malik Stones here. His detection cone is the one that's overlapping us, I believe. It might be because of the Steel Watcher there. But either way, what we want to do is cover this up with darkness. Now I go into overhead view for this because you do not want darkness to touch any of the NPCs in here. If you cast it while they are inside of it, they can take it as a hostile act. So you do not want to cast this while they are in it. So again, watch where Ettvard goes and don't cast it out here. It's also best if you don't cast it on an object. try and cast it somewhere on a floor surface. Sometimes when you cast it on an object, it weirds out. So I'm going to drop this right here. Then I'm going to go into turn-based mode. Go into hiding. I'm going to actually move back a little bit. And here we have celebrate the brave heroes who slew General Ketheric.
The block has a board sheet article engraved upon it. It speaks positively of you.
Okay, and that will advance this. We found a positive headline about us to load into the printer. We just need to figure out how. So that's the goal here, is to replace the negative story with a positive one. Okay, I'm going to exit turn-based mode, and I'm going to kill darkness. Now, you can place darkness in a way that covers both the wicker basket and the door. Honestly, I just forgot to do it. But I can also upcast darkness as well, so I'm not out of darkness casts here. And I also have will available to cast darkness as well, and again I can upcast it, so I can use other spell slots for it.
Is that blood?
I also have darkness on my paladin, so I can use my warlock level spell slots to cast darkness as well. So I'm not too worried about the action economy here. Okay, and here I'm actually going to cast this not in overhead mode.
At least things have stayed interesting. Don't want to draw any attention.
Yes, I need to... I forgot about that because that's my turn and it didn't refresh my... I needed to use my action to hide there.
These things have stayed interesting. Where am I needed?
Now, I probably should have prepped this because I don't know what my lockpicking gear is right now. Yeah, this is not nearly enough. Okay, so I don't have any of the lockpicking gear here. Must all be on Astarion in camp. So I was just not prepared at all for this. I do have 6 attempts here, and I can...
Defender of the people.
Add in guidance. It's not going to be a great chance for this to work.
I'll see what I can do.
Why, Will? I hate that it goes out of order when you do that. Fail. Fail. I'm only going to try one more time. Fail. Okay, so we're going to... I don't want to test it, even if it could work. I don't want to test it. I'm going to forget about this. I'm going to go back to camp and get the thieving gear and come back.
Already feeling better.
Or I could just bring Astarion into the party.
Gods, this is the first you can forget just how much color there is in the world. Yes, of course. Obviously. Sorry, did you want something? Perhaps if you lost a follower or two, in that case, I'd be happy.
Okay, so we'll just bring him along with us. Since we're going to be at camp anyway, that'll make it substantially easier. And before I spend another spell slot... Okay, so he's set up for this.
How delicious. Should be easy.
Okay, I'm going to use his bonus action to hide, and I'm going to have him go in here. I'm going to pick up this key.
Just like old times.
Looking ahead. The pride of the gate.
And I'm just going to do this in turn-based mode so that darkness stays active.
Nice and easy.
We trust our readers to make up their own minds.
Easy.
Okay, and there's the ink-spattered key. This is the key that you need to get into this door down here. Okay, there's a letter here. And this is where you learn that Gortash, G, has told Ettvard that he's sending along some material for urgent publication about some adventurers who have been allowed into the city. Attend to it. Okay? So this is where you learn that that Gortash has set you up with this negative story here. And down here is the last thing. Scroll of Eye Bite. Not so great.
Alright, what now? A hero with heart.
All right. What now?
Okay, and then one last turn to get Astarion out of here.
See me come.
Close the door. And now we can exit turn-based mode and remove darkness. Okay.
I was trying to concentrate.
No time
Now
to
that
rest.
key the ink spatter key you can also pickpocket from Ettvard. However, when you do it, you need to immediately go into turn-based mode and set up for getting into the basement, because when you do it, he will realize that he's been pickpocketed. Even if you successfully do it, he will realize he's been pickpocketed, and the guards will come down and interrogate you. And you have to make a pretty hard persuasion check to convince them that you are not the thief. And if it goes bad, then they will kick you out, and you will be in the same scenario here of having to sneak your way into this place. So we're going to head back to camp. We're going to drop Astarion off and pick Shadowheart back up.
I have a lot on my mind.
Baldur's Gate. You know, I never quite believed I'd actually make it back. Wasn't until we got within reach of Worm's Crossing that it felt real. It's so strange. I don't remember much of it, yet I can't help feel like I know it. It feels like home. I suppose it is. Though the chance to savor the moment might be brief, given all that still lies ahead of us. I may have to rely on your local knowledge to plug the gaps in my own mind. Hopefully, I'll remember more than I expect to. I'd join you, but things are looking a tad Lead the way, then.
And you can certainly do that too, Em, just like when we stole the Idol of Sylvanas. If you are able to fast travel, then you can head to your camp and avoid the questioning. Okay, so we're going to head over here, and we're going to ungroup, and we're going to kind of get everybody
Not as bad as it could have.
clumped up together here.
Looking ahead.
Okay, and we are going to, again, cast Darkness. We're going to do this from overhead. The bridge is not obstructing our view like it was trying to cast it in front of the door. And we're going to cast this so that we don't hit the guard, but that we do get it at the top of the stairs, as well as covering the door. And now we're going to make our way down to the door.
Moving in.
She's going to be
You're not
angry.
allowed down in the basement. Only Master Needle is permitted access to the printworks.
And this is something I didn't think about. Is the key, is it going to trigger magic pockets? Yes, it did. Because Astarion has the key.
I don't need any attention right now. Breathe deep and move.
That's a friendly-looking shadow.
I was joking.
We'll get Shadowheart out of the way first.
Let's see what we have here.
I told you already. No access to the printer room. If you keep forgetting, I'll print it out and nail it to your head. Sod off!
This way. Calm and quiet, that's the way.
Keeping pace.
Hang on! one, you're not allowed down in the basement. Only Master Needle is permitted access to the printworks.
And darkness wore off. So, Will is going to have to cast this. And that happens because as you split your party members, what I should have done was left my bard up here when I cast darkness. Instead of taking them down inside, and then they came out of turn-based mode, and that allowed darkness to disappear.
Let's see.
And as soon as I can, I want to get everybody away from this door.
Going this way.
Okay, because this door is, well, not just this door. This whole thing is weird. Okay. And you can get seen either somehow through that door or through these walls, and things can get bad. So, once you open this door, there are going to be 2 Steel Watchers who are patrolling here. Now, we need 15,000 XP to get to level 12. We want to kill these 2 Steel Watchers because that's going to give us 1,000 XP. Okay, so it's a way to get a good XP boost out of this. It's a dangerous fight because we're in close quarters here, and the explosions that they can cause can get a little hairy, but we want to try and approach this on our own terms if we can. So I'm going to go up and I'm going to stay in sneak mode. I'm going to open the door, and then I'm going to move all the way back here again if I can. I might get seen. If I get seen, I'm going to start combat, and I want to make sure that I have a high dexterity character here to hopefully roll well on initiative.
I'll give it a shot.
If I get seen.
Don't waste a step.
Okay, now you can see the 2 Steel Watchers. And I'm actually going to go into turn-based mode. Actually, no, I'm not, because I can't reach them from here. So, we're going to wait here, and then as soon as he turns around again, we're going to head out here. We'll wait patiently. And now we're going to go into turn-based mode. And we're going to start this fight here. I'm going to start this fight out here in this area. It gives me more options on where to move rather than be stuck inside this room. Okay, so I'm going to... And I'm going to move up here past him. And I'm going to start shrieking. So, Steel Watchers, just as you remember, they're vulnerable to lightning, they're immune to psychic and poison, but nothing else. So, thunder damage will be useful here. So I'm going to shriek, and this should put me into combat, and he should turn towards me here when he does. Okay, so unfortunately we did not roll first on initiative. I think we're still okay. No, well, yeah, we're still okay. Because now I want to get everybody else involved here.
Every step.
And to do that, I want to cast darkness as soon as I can. So we can get through here. And I'm not going to move into the Shriek. Okay, and now I'm going to get Will into this. And I want to make sure that they are both inside the darkness when I cast it. Okay.
Does this count as adventuring?
Now the detection cones are much easier to navigate because they don't exist. And I don't know if going into Shriek is going to put me into turn-based. It did not, so that's good. Okay, so I'm going to focus on this Steel Watcher here. I'm going to have advantage on all these attacks. That dazed him. Okay, and now Shadowheart.
My favorite. I see a way.
Okay, so I'm going to utilize Call Lightning here since they are vulnerable to lightning damage. And it's hard to place, but you want to watch the outlines of your character so that you're hitting them and not hitting your characters. So I would prefer not to hit a Steel Watcher directly. But that's really close. Well, let's hit him. I think that's probably the best bet. No, I can do it here. This is better. We'll add Destructive Wrath to that. Okay, so now she's going to get another cast of that. Sure. Okay, so, oh, that was bad because that's this one. That was a mistake. That was a mistake. I should not have done that. Okay, let's go. We haven't finished their turns yet.
Let's go.
So let's get everybody out of the way. That's not a mistake. I can get away from it.
Best be on my way.
Can't even catch my breath.
Blood comes easy these days. My faith will protect me.
Okay. Will is the one concentrating on darkness. So whatever I do here, I want to make sure that he's out of the way and not the one being targeted here. Okay. So let's move Will back here so
Fleet of foot.
he doesn't get targeted. Okay. So the good thing here is that all of us are together in the initiative order, so I don't really have to worry nearly as much here. So we're going to get him within range of Shriek
These
again.
boots have seen everything.
Okay, and then we're going to get Shadowheart to throw Nyrolna. No, we won't, because Will's still there.
No holding back.
This would trigger an attack of opportunity with Will, so we need to get him into his destruction state first. Go to my 5 to 10 here. I'm better off with Elder's Blast. And he's still not in destruction mode. Oh yeah, there he goes. Okay. So now I just need, now that he can't take reactions, I can move Will out of the way.
Finding my way. Well, so much for peace.
Move Curves out of the way just to be on the safe side.
I can't even catch my breath.
Battle favors the fearless.
Perfect.
Sharp as ever.
So that's how that is supposed to go. Not like the Paladin livestream did, where they somehow saw us through a closed door or something like that. So that's how it's supposed to go.
No traps, please.
So you're going to pick up Infernal Iron out of this. At this point, you probably don't need any of it, but the enriched Infernal Iron you'll see. We're actually just going to pick that up for now. And now you can begin searching down here. There are, up to this point, we've picked up 3 of these printing press templates. There are 6 more that we need to find down here. So let's actually go here. There's a wicker basket here, which is make big money by trading with adventurers. I'll tell you right now that this is the one that you want to use. So I'm going to put it first in our lineup here. Thieves' Tool, help replenish some of those that we lost. And here on the table is another one.
But that'll fit in my pack.
The cutest cat you've ever seen. You can tell the differences between them in that the ones that say humdrum, this article about the humdrum of Baldur's Gate doesn't talk about your arrival in the city. So these 3 are the 3 neutral options. They don't benefit you, they don't hurt you. The ones that talk about your shining commendation, these are the positive ones. So we found all the neutral ones. We found 2 of the positive out of the 3. You can break your way through this wall if you want. If you're sneaking around, that's the way to go, because you'll sneak to either this door here, or what you will do instead is you will go up to this. You can pick your way through while the watchers still turn the other way. Make your way into this room, then break your way in to get into this room, if you'd like. But you can sneak past the watchers. You do not have to fight them. Then in here we've got a gilded chest. What's the lockpick on this? 15. Fail. Jeez. I haven't rolled above a 10 on a lockpick yet. Okay, we have a bunch of pouches in here with a letter. These are the sales from the various different districts here. And there's always a tiny bit of gold in these. Okay, and I think that's it in here. I don't think there's anything else in here. So we're going to head over to this room here. It's an interesting thought, Em. I don't know. So inside here on the desk is another template. Now this one says, this article's Weasley words weave a terrible tale about you. This is one of the negative ones. Okay, we definitely do not want to use that. And then there's also some other items in here that talk about the new printer that's being used. And there's also these posters that's regarding the portrait production. And how many do we have? We've got 6. Okay, so the last 3 are inside here.
Something over there.
Now inside here is the printing press that we're going to need to interact with. But first we can pick up the other 3 templates. So there's some letters in here, and here is the next one, wolves in sheep's clothing. Again, you can probably tell that that one's going to be negative, and it is. So we should have 1 negative and 1 positive left to find in here. We can go search the wicker basket. Here's Adventurers, our best hope for the city. Again, the last positive one. Then around the corner here on the table is the last one. And that one again is the last negative. Okay, so we have 3 positives. 1, 2, 3. We have 3 neutrals, 1, 2, and 3, and then 3 negatives, 1, 2, and 3. So there are 9 possible templates you can put into the printing press. We obviously want to put a positive one in, and the one that you want to put in is make big money by trading with adventurers. Okay, so we're going to go up and interact with the printing press.
Here we go.
Hey Solo, welcome to the stream.
Approach the printer, noting its ink splots and intricate cogs. Before you can get closer, however, it begins to speak.
Oi! Gormless! Over here! Thought I recognized you. Dolly was right. You aren't much of a looker. We both love cheeky words. She does all the shouting, I do the writing. This is my paintbrush. I make sure everything that's in those big, ugly article blocks becomes fine printed artistry. I'm a master pensman, I am. Dolly can't stop talking about you. Hero this, hero that, hero here, hero there. Hello, hero. You know, there's some absolute filth about you in tomorrow's edition. Seeing as you were kind enough to free Dolly, how's about I do you a favor? Why don't we change the headline? We can load up something a bit less damaging for your reputation. Well, first, I've got to release the old nasty top story. Oop, there. Now, you've got to find a new article to replace it. How delightful.
So that opens up our insert tab, and we're going to put in make big money by trading with adventurers. Okay, we're going to get an inspiration out of that, and that's going to update stop the presses. We swapped out a negative headline with a different one we found. Tomorrow's paper should no longer damage our reputation. Okay, so now we need to find we need to make our way out of here. Because we can't fast travel out. We have a red border. And I can get rid of that. I no longer need any of these. So I'll just put them in Kurz's trash bag. And right here is an elevator. Okay, now this elevator has 3 different floors to it. We're going to go in here. We're going to trigger this to take us upstairs. Now, I've had this thing be a little glitchy before, so I make sure everybody's moved onto the elevator.
These boots have seen everything.
Before I interact with the lever.
And, well, in it.
And I forgot to group everybody up. So it only took her up, so I'll interact again, and this should bring everybody together. Okay, so now this puts us on the ground floor here, the main entrance where we were in. And you can see that the gate to get out is red. Okay, that doesn't matter to us, though, because now we can just fast travel back to the basilisk. So, now that we've done that, what I'm actually going to do is head back to Baldur's Gate, or back to Baldur's Mouth. And I've never done this. So this could get interesting.
You could strangle them by accident,
to use too much rope and break off their legs. And if it goes
I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna talk to Ettvard.
Seems like a good moment.
And I have no idea what's gonna happen. Just so you know.
Well, well, if it isn't the city's next celebrity, you star in our next edition's top story.
Okay, so that's an interesting option. I don't want to pick it because I do not know if that's going to trigger everybody to go hostile or anything like that.
Ettvard Needle, editor of the Baldur's Mouth Gazette, speaking truth to power since 1450 DR. No need to introduce yourself. I make sure I become intimately familiar with my subjects before writing about them. Oh, we have plenty of ink. Enough to cover all your misadventures in this good city. Trafficking refugees into our city is hardly a good look. Especially when so many are absolutists and murderers. The truth will be out with tomorrow's broadsheet. People will spit in your face. Your very presence will be bad for business. You'll be a pariah, an outcast, as you should be. And then, we can only hope the fists do their duty and escort you to the gallows. Your days of scumming up this good city streets will be over.
Okay, so there are some interesting options here. We have a letter that we found in there that was written to him from Gortash, so we know about that. This isn't going to do anything, though. He's just not going to care. Here, this is that same kind of choice we had a little bit ago. You can buy your way out of this. I can't remember actually how much gold it is, but it's going to be quite a bit, I'm sure.
Pray tell, how exactly will you disseminate that information? What's the name of your highly popular broadsheet? No? Exactly. The headlines are loaded into the printworks already. Tomorrow, you will feel the power of free speech. Vox Populi, Vox Dei. Now, guards! I believe our distinguished guest was just leaving. Would you care to escort them out?
Okay, so you can make an attack here and clear this entire place out and go down and do what we just did. Or the guards will take you outside. The door will change. It's now locked and it's red. And everybody who's inside now will be hostile as soon as they see you. So what the game wants you to do and I need to do this.
The bustle here takes some getting used to. Crackling fire and a tresson for company is usually more my speed. Still, we must flow with the current we find ourselves in, however tumultuous it may be. If you've need of me, I'm glad to help.
And the Tressum is exactly...
I'd be delighted. Though, someone else will need to watch the cookpot, of course.
why we are bringing him back in.
Back in the thick of things at last. Oh, how exciting.
Let's get going.
Seek and you shall find me.
Okay, so Gale does have enhanced leap. We can actually find out, because we're going to take a long rest here in a second.
Most excellent.
and let that story populate. I did not, no. So we're gonna split our group, and we bugged out the Steel Watcher.
You must never run away like that again.
Okay, and we're gonna have Gale. Actually, I don't know if he can jump up here. He can't. So I need to get over to the other rooftop for this.
What to do? Have to keep going.
You shall bring us excellent recognition.
He's a man of the people too.
And I'm pretty sure I looked at this last time, that we can make it from the roof of the Elfsong Tavern. Okay, now there is somebody here that we want to talk to real quick.
Well, look what the bugbear dragged in. Can't believe we both made it to the city, and with our limbs attached. Working. What else? Alan's short on coppers. The counting house is screwing him over. He was willing to hire anyone who'd work for cheap. And I'm nothing if not cheap. Oh, you are smooth, hero. I knew there was a reason I missed you. I need to get back to work, but stick around. You brighten the place up.
Okay, another way to get another inspiration.
What can I get you? Make it as easy as possible and leave a big tip. Thanks. Check the roof. But you didn't hear that from me.
Okay, so we are going to check the roof.
Admire your courage, Gale.
When we do that, we're going to have an encounter here.
Any particular reason?
Hold up, citizen.
Between
This
the
is
orb
a
and the
crime
bug,
scene.
you've got more than your...
Halt, civvy. Turn back. This is an active crime scene.
Hold on, Thornhill. I'm tired of standing here. Devella's been up there for ages. Some diversion would be welcome.
Constable Devella said she wasn't to be...
Investigator Valeria outranks her. As you were, Civvy. Fair warning, though. She's in a foul mood.
Okay, so now we're able to head up to the next floor. And I'm going to head to the roof here using this ladder.
A place to receive clients and informants.
And here, somebody is waiting for us.
I have something to ask.
It's you! Look at us! We made it to the city! We made it to the Elfsong Tavern! And are you? Never thought I'd live to perform for the greatest audience in the realms. The entirety of Baldur's Gate. Lakrissa lets me practice up here when she's on shift downstairs. She's too good to me. But you... I have a bone to pick with you, oh brave adventurer. Big trouble. The most trouble you've ever been in. I've decided I'm not going to perform in the elf song. Mainly because only the elf song itself is allowed to perform. I'm going to open up a school of bards. The best in the realms. To usher in a new age of magic and musicianship. And it's because of you that I dare to dream big enough. You're going to make me cry, damn you. Here. My very first lute, tuned to perfection. Thought you'd appreciate it when I'm rich and famous. Take care, my friend. Thank you for helping a stumbling bard in a druid's grove find her spark again.
Okay, and there we're going to get another inspiration out of that. And we received a loot. Now this is... There's nothing special about this loot. I think this was a missed opportunity here. But there's nothing special about this loot. It's not even got Alfira's name or anything on it to let you know what it is. So I think they kind of missed out on something there a little bit. But what we're going to do is split our group here.
My magic. May it please, Mistra.
Okay, so let's, whoops, try here instead. No. Okay, so it's just a little bit too far. I thought we checked this. This might be because of another reason, though. Yeah, it might be because of that. We're going to take Gale back to camp. I go to Shadowheart. And we will make Gale hit the gym right here. Yep. Because Enhanced Leap is still based on strength. Okay, now his chances of making this are probably pretty low. So now that we're here, see if he can make it. And he did. Okay, so here you've got some thieves' tools, a trap disarm kit, an elixir of vigilance, so that you can't be surprised, and a potion of invisibility. These are items that are letting you know, or giving you clues as to how you're supposed to approach this whole thing. Assuming that you've played this and gotten kicked out, like we have now. Okay, and there are two ways to get in. The first is, now that we're here, we can jump down here, take the ladder down.
It's a gnome's life for me.
And here we go with this thing again. Not going to make that mistake again. Oh, see, it wants us to go up there and then jump all the way down and take fall damage.
Onward.
Okay. So from here, you have the double doors here, and if you go in here, again, you need to watch out for the detection cones because they can get a little weird up here. But if you click on the doors, now you can see how you're supposed to make your way into here. And what you're supposed to do is take that invisibility potion and then hit the lever. That brings this platform down to level with here, and level with here. Then you run all the way down. You go up to the door, use your lock picking kit on the door, and that's how you sneak your way in. Okay. So that is the first way to do it.
You should start your own opinion.
Onward.
The second way is right here. Okay, there's a barricade here. This barricade, as you can see, is on top of that elevator shaft. So you can destroy the barricade. You can jump down in there with Featherfall. You will end up right at the top, right at that elevator shaft where we were. You can press the lever, and it will take you into the that same basement area where we were. Now, you have to be kind of careful down there because, again, the detection cones, you're no longer inside of a door. You're kind of around the corner from one of the Steel Watch, and you have to be kind of careful. So as soon as you land, you might actually be seen by the Steel Watchers when you hit the lever. So it's a more dangerous way of going in there, but it is certainly doable. Okay. So that's how you're supposed to do it. We've kind of bypassed all of that. And I don't care if Gale takes him. Minor. Yep. Well, Arcane Ward. Doesn't matter anyway. How about we take Gale to camp? We need to get rid of him. Actually, we don't. We need to get him back. Forgot. But we can fast travel him out of there. He doesn't have to jump down anywhere. Wait.
Such a good job running the Gazette. These days, it's hard to tell.
Actually, I don't know what they're going to be doing up there, so I'm going to... Oh boy, oh no, what is that? Somebody moved over here to the corner.
Yes, of course.
And I believe I forgot. We need to go into our pack. Pull out a couple of fish. We got plenty of gold here. Okay. And now we need to look around and see if we see Tressum anywhere. And there's Tara, right there.
Yes?
may or I may not. Depends what you have to offer in return. I have very high standards, mind.
Okay, and she's going to have the Hat of the Sharpcaster. So basically, it's Savage Attacker with spell attack rolls. Whenever you roll a 1 or 2, you re-roll that die once. So, but you see that there's no gold in our inventories. Tara does not accept gold for her trades. She only accepts magic items. So the Hat of the Sharpcaster is 105 gold, so you would need to trade 105 gold worth of magic items to her to barter for it. However, there is a workaround for that. You can put a fish. She also accepts fish. We learned at our first encounter with her back in Rivington on the top of the Open Hand Temple that fish is her second favorite food. So she will accept fish. Now, however, the fish is only worth 5 gold. But what it allows you to do is now you can balance offer and now that will allow you to put 100 gold into the barter screen. I don't think it's intended for that to happen. But the balance offer button, Gale didn't have any gold on him, so the first time I hit it, it behind the scenes moved 100 gold into his inventory. You just couldn't see it. And then clicking the balance offer again moved that 100 gold from his inventory into the barter screen. So now all it's going to take us is 100 gold and a fish to be able to get the Hat of the Sharpcaster from her, and we don't have to trade away our magical items instead. Okay, so the Hat of the Sharpcaster can be a really nice way to help guarantee that you're not missing by rolling a 1 or 2. It takes out that bottom 10% of the attack roll and allows you to re-roll that die to helpfully avoid the critical misses. Now, Tara is going to fly away after we take our long rest, and she's going to go to a different location. That different location, she will then have a second item that you can do the same thing with.
I never found the head. Fucked it.
Okay, so now we'll take Gale back here and we can remove Gale from our party.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
We'll bring Shadowheart back in.
A private word would be nice.
We're going to take a long rest here.
All's well, I hope, aside from the obvious. A bit crowded, don't you think? Lead the way, then.
What path?
Okay, because we are desperately in need of a long rest due to our action economy here. You can see we're red in a lot of locations. So before we take our long rest, though, we're going to go do one last thing. We are already here at the Elf Song Tavern, so we're going to head back downstairs.
Should mind my step.
We're going to go talk to the bartender.
What's up for discussion?
Aye, aye. Pull up a seat. If you can find one spare, that is. With all this talk of war, what else the folk to do but drink? I reckon the murder we'd had something to do with it too. Got punters all intrigued. On that morbid note, what can I get you fine self? I'll tell you what. The murder upstairs has brought some punters, but it's also really spooked folk out of renting rooms. If we get you staying up there, perhaps folk will calm down and realise there's naught to worry about. You can have the whole upstairs floor until this killer thing blows over. The city always wins. There's always some hero that saves the day. It's the way things work. Charity! In Baldur's Gate! Good one.
So we have advantage here, plus all of our charisma checks.
Keep your voice down about the bloody murder upstairs. Top floor's all yours. If it gets a bit too noisy at night, well, don't sleep above a pub.
Actually, now that I think about it, there's probably one more thing that we have to do before we take the long rest. And I don't want to take a chance on this.
That's just a gimmick. The Steel Watch don't need to talk. They're guards.
Yeah, I don't want to take a chance on this.
But that's precisely why he's a genius. Not only that.
Because honestly, I'm not sure
Have you any idea
if
how
this is affected by it or not. So what I want to do is make sure that... Okay, so I've got the Ring of Free Action here, which is good. I'm seriously hurting on action economy, but I do have a Song of Rest.
That'll have to do.
So I can at least get all of my Warlock spell slots back.
Still alive.
Okay.
So that's progress.
We're going to go over here and we're going to talk to Cora Highberry. I don't know if this encounter here, if I take a long rest, if Cora's going to end up getting killed or not. Because he's here. Mesley is here. So I want to take care of this now. I believe. Because I think the triggers are you either have to walk near this or find the murder list. And we already found the murder list. We found it in Rivington. So I don't want to take a chance here. I'm going to have this encounter. It won't matter, Lord Henry. So if I take a long rest now, she's still going to be here. And they're both still going to be here.
In my opinion, we should have a Steel Watch in every Baldurian home. Why?
Oh wait, I know I've got a
I'm
delay
glad
in the
you
stream
asked.
here, so...
It would certainly help with the dishes. Okay, after the joke, you'll laugh. Leave him some time, and then...
Andy, because I don't want to give people the false impression that you can just rest all of the time. I certainly could do that. Yeah, it's safe to take a long rest? Okay. Well, I'll trust you guys know that I don't need to do that. But Andy, I don't want to give people the impression through my live streams that I could long rest whenever I want, even though I probably could, just because in honor mode that might not necessarily be the case. I can long rest all I want because I have 4,500 camp supplies. So that might not be the case for people who are playing honor mode playthroughs where it needs double the amount of camp supplies and you haven't been as studious at searching through things as I have. So I manage my action economy to minimize my rests. Also, I'm a tabletop player, and a DM would just not let you take a bunch of long rests to reset everything whenever they feel like it. And also, even if they did allow you to do it, you would still be rolling random encounters at your rest. And you may get ambushed by a dragon while you're resting. So I try not to play things... I tend to play things more towards the tabletop end of things. It's in the game. I don't begrudge people from taking a long rest every 5 minutes, because you certainly can. I just don't. So we're going to take our long rest now.
Yes, Ettvard. Can I call you Ettvard? Well, Ettvard, I do support Lord Wartash's campaign.
And because we talked to the bartender, we now have a new camp. We are in the second floor of the Elf Song Tavern. And these doors lead us out to the second floor of the Elf Song Tavern, right near the ladder to the roof. The ladder to the roof is right out here, outside. So at any time, you can enter your camp just by clicking on the doors in the Elf Song Tavern. But we finally have a comfortable place to rest here inside the lower city. We're no longer camped outside. We're no longer sleeping in our bedrolls. We have nice beds that we can sleep in. So something that you can pay 200 gold for, or you can just persuade your way out of any cost for it. So let's go ahead and have some conversations here. Halson wants to talk to us.
I never quite realized how burdened I was until I met you. The threat of the Shadow Curse, the politics of the Grove. I was forgetting who I was. But you lifted the fog. Thank you. You. I discovered you. I have lived a very long time. I have taken many lovers. My heart does not stir lightly. But it does now. Truly? I thought you felt the same as I did. You saw to my needs here in camp with the care of a lover, not a host. But I respect your choice, if that's how you truly feel. Your friendship remains precious to me. I understand. And I still cherish our relationship. Still, I could not have forgiven myself had I not taken the plunge. Better to have tried and failed.
So, didn't expect that, but don't want to go through a whole bear cutscene. So we'll pass on that.
I've had a lifetime's fill of watching little men buff themselves up with grand titles. I look forward to the day we show the Archduke that his tongue is not half so silvered as he thinks. He's protected by his Steel Watch for now. And Orin will have her own defenses, should we choose to play the part of Gortash's bloodhounds. We cannot expect either of the Chosen to fall easily. But fall they must, if we're to have all three stones to command the brain. Still, if you see sense in making an alliance, I won't question it. I'll just look forward to the inevitable breaking Gortash spoke of. It would be irritatingly true to form, would it not? A Harper learns to doubt, to peer through every smile, question every look. Eventually, you find what it is you fear, whether it is there or not. When we cannot know, we can only trust. But then, that is exactly what a traitor in our midst would say. Isn't it? I have. And while I do not love my conclusion, that does nothing to change it. The Harpers are the city's best information network. With them out of action, we shall have to fall back on second best. 9 Fingers Keen. Oh, if it does not, you have led a very virtuous life indeed. 9 Fingers Keen controls the guild, which in turn controls every criminal racket from Heapside to the High Hall. Nothing happens in this city that she doesn't hear of, sooner or later. How hospitable she will be to a Harper that comes begging to her guild hall, we will find out. Perhaps I will let you do the talking.
Okay, so that's going to advance the quest, the High Harper. Here. She wants us to speak to 9 Fingers Keen. And we are certainly going to go do that. All of these other things. Okay, so it did say that Grand Duke Ravengard is gone from Gortash's audience chamber. His whereabouts are currently unknown. So maybe it did move him, or maybe this just advanced because it went hostile and it doesn't know how to do it. Because I didn't have a conversation with Gortash, but yet Jaheira reacted as if he had given us an offer to go kill Orin and that sort of stuff. So some of the dialogue here is glitched out a little bit, and this may be part of it. Because, yeah, no, we know about this. The Emperor's old hideout, we learned as soon as we moved into the Elfsong Tavern. We're not going to go do that, though. Okay. So, yeah, once it went hostile, it advanced everything here as far as Grand Duke Ravengard goes. So, we'll see if it actually did that or not. I don't think it did, personally. I think he's still inside the audience chamber. But we will see at some point.
I wasn't expecting it, but I'm glad to have some company on this journey. Fine. What's on your mind?
Welcome to the lower city, where Baldur's Gate truly comes alive.
Okay. Don't need to talk to either of these two.
This is the city proper, is it? I didn't expect it to be so outrageously ordinary.
I made it back. I'm here. Thank the gods. Thank the gods.
Okay, Gale here.
How can I help?
Nothing new.
What can I do for you, my friend?
Okay, and nothing new here. I don't think we have anything new. Well, I don't actually know if I have anything new from Isabel or Aelin.
Keeping very well, I hope?
Come to bask in the glow of the Moon Maiden's sword? Be most welcome.
Okay, so nothing new there. So we're going to take our long rest here. Whoops, I need to go this way. Okay, and now we're gonna do a couple of things. So first, we're going to bring Zenith into our party.
This vessel is at thy disposal. Do what thou wilt.
But the vessel only stares blankly. You'll need
And
to
I
make
need
room in
to
your party first.
remember how to
soul
do
awaits
this.
thy command.
So let me see what happens here.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
Okay, so that still won't trigger it with him not in the party. So let's bring hers back in the
This
party.
vessel is at thy disposal. Do what thou wilt.
But the vessel only stares blankly.
This soul.
And now, if I do it, now Kurz gets it because he's in the party. Okay. So... nobody here I want. So I want to take him down here. Okay, so almost... Okay. So the other thing about this campsite is that almost everybody, almost all of your companions are within range here of Hero's Feast. So these three are not. You can bring them into your party and manually maneuver them over here. And then while they're walking back to their spot, you can trigger this so that Hero's Feast will get everybody. But right now, this is going to get my normal party, Shadowheart, Will, and myself, as well as Kurz in this. Okay. And yeah, just like M said, you can walk the other party members nearby. You can bring them in and move them over here if you would like to do it. Here, I'm going to go ahead and trigger it. Okay, that gets me thoroughly stuffed. And it gets me camp supplies. Now the camp supplies here, 8, 23, 26, 28, and 21. It gets you 49 camp supplies. So enough for a long rest in and of itself.
Still breathing, despite everything.
Okay, and now I'm going to put
First in my
Shadowheart back in.
Almost pleasant traveling with company. If I'd join you, but
And I'm going to
things are
replace
looking
Zenith.
lead the way then.
So, Hero's Feast won't work on your hirelings unless they are in your party when you do it. So, you can... That's why you want to have him in your party when you have your other hireling cast it. It will work on all of your origin characters if they're in your party or not. But to make sure it works on everybody, you want to make sure that if you have a hireling permanent, or that you keep in your party, that you bring him in before you cast Hero's Feast. And now everybody should have thoroughly stuffed, which is important because they're immune to diseases, poison, and from being frightened, which is huge. It makes all wisdom saving throws with advantage, and its maximum hit points are increased by 12. All some major benefits. And you can have a cleric hireling cast it and not use any of your spell economy to do it.
The dog is unable to speak through the small bag he holds in his mouth.
I don't know. Maybe you can tell me. All I know is I thought of you when I saw it.
Scratch is the goodest boy. Okay, so one thing that we want to do here is we're going to go see another old friend.
Hey, soldier. You know I'm up for it, but your party's a little full. Now we're talking.
And we want to bring Karlach along with us.
What's the story?
Whoops. And we want to pull out of our inventory a couple of things.
No one stopped me yet.
And I still have the enriched. Okay. And now we're going to go shopping.
Carry me.
And yes, looks like they are still here. So good call, Lord Henry. Thank you very much.
So, I was looking at the pictures in the Gazette today.
Rather than reading the articles. Yeah, Gazette.
Well, they was in the Gazette. Saw the pictures.
And here is Dammon.
Very well.
Karlach, you're looking well.
Would be a lot better if you'd find a way to fix this engine, Dammon.
I haven't stopped trying, but all roads lead to a dead end. Sorry, I didn't mean...
Never mind. Glad you're all right in any case. Nice forge you've got here.
Best I've had in years. Mistress of the house lets me operate from here for a fair price. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't happy.
Good. Someone should be.
Certainly.
Okay, now remember, we upped Dammon's attitude a long time ago. Okay? He has all of the items that we have ever sold him throughout all of the time, but he also has some new items in here that are waiting for us if he has managed to survive up to this point. The first, and he also has a good selection of arrows here, always will. So the first is the Armor of Persistence. Okay? Now, even with 100 attitude, and with a persuasion of plus 12, so my discount is 150%. This 20 armor class heavy armor is 6,400 gold. This is emblematic of Act 3 in general. You're going to find a lot of purple outline, very rare items for purchase, and almost all of them are going to be horrifically expensive. But armors take the cake. There are some really good armors here in Act 3, and all of them are ridiculously expensive. So this is where you have all of your trash bags saved up to be able to pay for all of these items here, because like I say, this is the cheapest that you're going to find it, the cheapest that you're going to get it from him. Now, I don't use any of the inventory exploits, and I'm not going to use any of them here, but this magical plate is very, very good. All incoming damage is reduced by 2. You gain resistance and blade ward permanently, which means that you gain a plus 1d4 bonus to all saving throws, and you have resistance against bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, which means you take half damage from those damage types. You have disadvantage on stealth checks, but you always have that with heavy armor and with some medium armors as well. So it's also a magical plate where all damage is reduced by 2. a very, very useful piece of armor here, and something I am definitely going to pick up. If I hadn't raised Dammon's attitude, I would definitely spend the 400 here to do it, and then purchase it. The next item are the Boots of Persistence. You gain freedom of movement and long strider permanently, and you gain dexterity saving throws +1. Freedom of movement is huge. You cannot be paralyzed or restrained in difficult terrain, whether that be by spells or magical effects or the slow spell. Movement speed cannot be reduced. These are massive benefits. Long Strider we're going to have on every one of our characters after a long rest anyway, but this is a huge benefit in freedom of movement. It basically allows us to utilize the Ring of Free Action on one character and have another character that has the exact same thing. So if we run into enemies who can paralyze us, which there are quite a few here inside Act 3, we have at least 2 characters who are going to be completely immune to that. So definitely a couple of huge items here to pick up. Now, Legacy of the Masters is gain a +2 bonus to attack and damage rolls with weapons. Just period, with weapons. So it's a +2 bonus, straight bonus to both your attack rolls and your damage rolls. So another 10% plus to hit on all of your attacks. And you gain a straight +2 bonus to damage. So these 3 items, basically armor, boots, and gloves, can be a huge benefit to any of your martial fighter type characters. And this can be a huge benefit to Kurz as our paladin, or to anybody else that is proficient in these items. So the gloves are medium armor, the boots are medium armor, the armor persistence is heavy armor. But we're going to pick up all of them. And as far as Lord Henry, the persuasion ring, what he's talking about is the Ring of Geniality here. I don't actually think it matters. See, I'm at a +13. I'm at -150. I'm going to get out and talk to him again and see if it resets. I think I tried this in my personal playthrough and it didn't.
What can I do
but
for
let's see.
Of course. Wouldn't be allowed to hold them if it weren't for you.
I think it caps at 150, at a -150%. Okay, that's what I think is happening here. Because I had tested it before, and upping my persuasion enough to get it over 150 doesn't do anything. So it's capped at 150%, I think. So these things are stuck at the prices that they are right now, the lowest they can be. So we are going to buy these items. I'll put it back on. But yeah, see, the prices change based upon this discount number. This discount number is affected by your persuasion number, but like I say, I believe it caps it at 150%. So I believe this is the cheapest that I'm going to be able to possibly get these things from him. So, but like I said, I believe I had tested this before on my personal playthrough, and it does appear. I haven't tested to find out what persuasion number it takes to get 150. I think it's 10, if I remember right. So anything above 10, it doesn't affect your prices anymore. Okay, So I'm definitely going to purchase all 3 of these items. And yes, like M said, the +2 to hit here helps offset the -5 penalty from Great Weapon Master. So it's one more thing you can do to help offset that. I don't need any of the sales bags anymore. That's my arrows. I don't need the... No. Yeah, I don't need this. I'm not gonna use it. I don't need the potion of animal speaking. None of this. Okay, so we'll just clear out our trash bags here. Okay, so all of that. Now here's where the real stuff comes in. +2 maces. +1 spears, not a big thing. Another helmet, not a big thing. However, the plate armors are a big thing. 1,710. I drop this in and go up to 2,110. So I'm getting full value out of each one of these that I drop in. So if you're short, just go looking for people who can drop heavy armor. Okay, and I think, nope, the opulent chest here I need to get rid of. And I think that's it. Okay, so we are getting charged 8270. Our trash bags are 3,500. So we're going to balance that off or out. And it's going to end up costing us 4,800 gold. Now remember, we have another 21,000 gold in our camp chests. Okay, so we have a lot of additional things to do here. Oh yeah, I did forget about the unwanted set here. The unwanted masterwork scale. Thanks, Lord Henry. I'm not going to end up picking this up, but it is a 16 armor class, medium armor, which is, I don't think yeah. Here's scale +2. So that's the equivalent of scale mail +2 here. You add your full dexterity modifier to your armor class, which is nice. That would be a straight increase for me because I'm limited to 2 on my armor class here. But my character sheet here, I'm pretty sure my dexterity modifier is +3 right now. So I would gain an armor class here because of it. The important thing about this is that this armor does not impose disadvantage on stealth ability checks. If you are doing a stealth archer build where you are using the cloak that gives you advantage on stealth checks, this armor does not impose disadvantage, so that advantage is fully taken into effect, and you're utilizing Pass Without Trace. This is the armor that you want to utilize for that until you get the final armor set, which is much later in Act 3. Because it does not impose disadvantage on stealth ability checks, at that point with Pass Without Trace, you'll probably have something like a +22 on your stealth. So you have to roll a nat 1, basically, to fail a stealth check. So you can just sit there over and over and over and attack an enemy holding down control and just clicking on them until you either roll a nat 1 or they get close enough to you where they knock you out of stealth because you're threatened. So this is a very important piece of medium armor for your stealth archer build. The grants resistance to fire damage is just a bonus at that point. So yeah, because this is what's giving me the can't land crits, I believe. Yes. So I want to leave that here. At 23 armor class, I'm not too worried about it anyway. But if you're building Astarion out as your stealth archer, this is a great piece of armor for him to have if you've gone the Gloomstalker assassin route and he has proficiency with medium armor. Okay. He also has a shield +1, which gives you a +3 to your armor class, which is very nice. It doesn't have any of the other bonuses because it's just a flat +1, but I can gain another armor class that way. So with this and this, I could be sitting at a 25 base armor class with my bard. Okay, so I do want to talk to him because I wanted to check something else here.
What can I do for you? I'm shocked by my good fortune, quite honestly. Rent is fair, and the setup is just what I need to start making a living again. Without you, I'd be dead in a ditch twice over. Instead, I have my own smithy in the city. At least, until the Absolute's army mows us down. But hey, anything could happen in the meantime. Optimism, right?
Okay, so nothing else here. That was just a little experiment on my part because I didn't do any testing on it, but I'm almost positive. Oh, wait a minute. Where is... Oh, I gave it to Karlach. I don't know if this matters or not. I have all 3 of the different types, different icons of Infernal Iron.
What can I do for you?
Okay, yeah. My personal playthrough, I got another option that I have something he might like to take a look at, and I didn't explore it very much in my personal playthrough because I haven't had time to do it. It may be just because I didn't have him craft all of the stuff that he's capable of crafting. So that may be why. But I was just checking if there was something else that opened up here. So now I'm going to bring Kurz back in. And we'll go out adventuring again.
This vessel is at thy disposal.
But the vessel only stares blankly.
This soul awaits thy command.
Okay, and here... Okay, so we're going to go out there and sell off Kurz's trash bags and everything. But for now, doing a comparison here between the two. Both of these, this is Kethric's armor, remember. Both of these have magical plate, so damage is reduced by 2. Reaper's rigidity means I can't be moved against my will by any spell or action. Not really, well, can be very useful, especially in a certain encounter. That will happen much, much later. We both have disadvantage on stealth checks between these armors. I get the Howl of the Dead cantrip, which lets me numb nearby creatures, which means that it halves their movement speed, and I have advantage against them, which is very useful, but I normally get advantage from being in darkness anyway. So gaining resistance and Blade Ward here permanently is an increase for Kurz. Then I have the Boots of Persistence. This is compared to the Boots of Speed, which he's currently wearing. gaining freedom of movement, and again, Long Strider with a dex saving throw +1, a straight upgrade for him. And then Legacy of the Masters, and this compares to the Flawed Helldust Gloves. So, the Flawed Helldust Gloves right now are giving me a flat 1d4 fire damage. The Legacy of the Masters is going to give me a +2 bonus to my damage. Both of them give me strength saving throws +1. The Flawed Helldust Gloves are great for that additional damage. I'm getting the equivalent damage, well, a little bit less, actually. But from a dice roll perspective, the same. I'm getting the equivalent average damage out of the Legacy of the Masters that I would out of the Flawed Helldusk. The Flawed Helldusk has the ability to do a little lower and also a couple higher than the +2 that I'm gaining out of this. But the +2 to attack rolls is what's also important here. So again, a straight upgrade for me for the Flawed Helldusk, and yeah, for now I'm not going to need them, but I'm going to keep them on me just like I am the Dark Justiciar helmet in my inventory. So now you can see he's got Blade Ward, Resistance, and Freedom of Movement all on all the time for him. So now we'll do our last set of buffs here, like we normally do every time we get a long rest. And here, I don't need to get Curse with this. So now we all have Long Strider. Going to drop the Drake Throat Glaive here.
Can't afford to stay idle.
And Kurz does have the spear equipped. Okay. And now we're going to head down into this area down here.
With haste.
I was looking at the pictures in the Gazette today.
What to do?
Okay. Sorry, we're just looking at Kurz there.
Catch a break.
And we have two vendors here. Fitz the Firecracker's a weapons trader, and Gloomy Fentinson is an armor trader. Whoops.
So that's progress.
Need something for defense? Or maybe offense? Either way, I've got what you need.
News of your good deeds has traveled fast. The merchant is all too happy to extend a certain generosity towards you, where the price of goods is concerned.
Okay, and this is what I wanted to illustrate here. Because of our actions with changing out that article in the paper and selecting the one that had to do with getting better deals trading with merchants, every merchant by default here now has an attitude of 10. What that means is that we no longer need 400 gold to be able to raise their attitude to 100. Because we already start with 10, instead of 400, we need 360 gold now to raise that attitude from 10 to 90. If we were doing this with items, we would already start with a 10% bonus to that. on our attitude. So that is why we chose that particular headline to go in the Baldur's Mouth Gazette, is because now we do not need the same number of, or the same amount of gold to be able to raise their attitude. Okay? And we'll just go through our inventory here real quick because there are some things that we want to pick up. So first, again, some really good arrow selections are going to be in here. And that's probably a good question, Em. I'm not entirely sure what the attitude numbers are. Let me see if I can affect that number in real time or not. Yeah, I don't know if I can. I don't think I can affect them in real time. Let me see
Focus scared.
if I can pop out of here, because I honestly haven't done any of this testing. Your persuasion, the effect your persuasion has,
Careful. Most of my wares can take an eye right out.
may be capped at a certain number. Okay, so yeah, there it is. So each point of persuasion ups you 17% is what it does. So right now, to get 150, I would need 33% additional discount percentage. I don't know how attitude translates into the discount. I haven't done, there's an equation for it. I believe it's on the wiki. It's been a long time since I've looked. But there is a method to figuring out exactly how much this needs to be. What I can do is I can kind of do this in increments, I guess. We can do a little bit of testing here. I can just do like 100 at a time. I don't want to do it now because I'm level 11.
All of my wares are tried and true. Hells, some of them are probably already killed before.
Okay, and I want to find out where... Okay, so we've taken Pure Bard here, so I'm going to head to camp. Oh, I shouldn't have cast... well, I don't know if Thoroughly Stuffed is going to last through this or not. And with Kurz and Zenith here, stealing from Withers can be a little hard.
I need a moment for the two of us.
Well, obviously I would. In that case.
Let's take Astarion over here and see if Withers has any gold in his inventory or not. Because sometimes here, with these two here, you can't even go into hiding. Looks like I can. Okay.
Still breathing.
So now let's do our respec.
Fate spins along as it should.
Dost thou require a new ally? As thou...
Okay, should default me back to Bard. This is all correct. Yes, this is all still correct. Yes, because I left out Intimidation in favor of Perception. I probably don't need that now. I'm going to change the Perception out with Sleight of Hand, actually. Now I can get Astarion back.
This way. Leave no tricks. I scanned thee from a net.
Looking ahead.
Bring Shadowheart back in and we'll go talk to these vendors. I wasn't planning to do vendor experimentation today, but...
traveling with company. If you would... I'd join you, but Things are lead the way.
But it is a useful thing.
Something caught your eye then? Careful.
Because actually what's
Most
interesting
of my wares can
here
take an eye right out.
is my persuasion's not going to be 13 anymore. But, yeah, so I need to get my discount. It was 117, so I needed 33%. So 33% onto 35 is 68%. But let's just give 100 here. And see where that gets us. 45. So that went up 10%. Out of giving her 100. So 10% discount, I needed another 33. So this should be another 200 would get me to 30. And then another 3 would be another 30 gold. So this would be a total of 330 gold I've given her. So actually that was a little bit too much. I needed to get to 68. I'm at 74. Her attitude's 92%.
Trade's
We're gonna
booming.
go over here
Folk are
and
scared. I'm better
just
to be
give the
scared and armed
full
than scared.
400 to Gloomy. Because I'm not that short on gold.
You don't be shy.
News of your good deeds has traveled
Okay,
fast.
so he's going to start
The
us out at
merchant is all too
10%,
happy to extend
or at
their
attitude 10 as
certain
well.
generosity
And
towards
again, I'm
you,
not going to
where the
experiment with
price
him.
of
I'm just going to
goods
give
is
him
concerned.
400, just because I've got plenty of gold. So that ups him to 100.
The way I see it.
Okay, so now here I'm going to do my level up. Okay, so for spells, it doesn't matter. I'll end up replacing it. Actually, I'll take Featherfall here. No, that's all right, Em. This is useful stuff. I'm not spending a lot of extra time here. So here, deception is fine. So deception and performance are fine. For my second level spells, I want Enhance Ability. I'm going to do College of Swords. My fighting style's dueling. And I'm going to look here. Yes, I'm going to replace Cure Wounds. And I'm going to replace it with Knock. Okay, so my cantrips, again, don't really matter that much. For my spell here, Invisibility. For my feat, I honestly can't remember what we took for our feats here, but there is a couple of good ones that I want. So Alert is one of them. Okay, at Bard level 5, we're going to get access to our first set of level 3 spells. We definitely want Glyph of Warding here. Oops. Everything else we're still good with. It may have been. And then here, it may have been Lord Henry. And then here at level 6 with Bard, we get our extra attack. So for here, I want Hypnotic Pattern. And now we're going to start our Warlock dips. Okay, for our cantrips, definitely Eldritch Blast. I'm going to get rid of Blade Ward and go with Mage Hand. The great old one for my 2 spells. I want Hex and Hellish Rebuke. My Eldritch Invocations, definitely Agonizing Blast and Devil Sight. For my first spell here, again, this one doesn't really matter as much because I'm going to end up replacing it. Here we pick our Pact Boon, which is Pact of the Blade. Definitely taking Darkness, and here we're going to replace Dissonant Whispers with Hold Person. Warlock level 4, we get our feat. And it may have been Actor. Because honestly, I can't remember if we got the Hag's Hair in this playthrough or not. Because I don't think it shows in this list here. So that's actually a good question. Let me exit out of this real quick. Okay, yeah, I don't think we got it. I think we accidentally killed her way back when. It's been so long ago, I can't remember. But yes, it might have been Actor. That we took here for this next feat. To give us expertise in deception and performance. But actually, I don't need it as much now. Yeah, I think I did, Lord Henry. I think that's what happened. So we're just going to take ability improvement so we can drop up or pop up Constitution and Charisma. I could do Actor as long as when I took my 3rd level Bard, I did not pick Deception. Instead, I picked Intimidation and Persuasion. This would give me expertise in the other 2. But I believe I picked Deception and Persuasion as my 2 options. So Actor would be missing out on one here. Cantrips here don't really matter. My spells here, Misty Step is always a good one to have. And then level 5 for Warlock, we get our Pact Boon, which gives us our 2nd extra attack, which on anything other than Honor mode stacks. And we're going to add in Repelling Blast. As far as replacing spell goes, because I probably want to add back in or add in Hunger of Hadar here. Okay, and now my Persuasion should be back up to 13. So she was at 92% attitude, not 100%.
Something caught your eye then? Careful. Most of my wares can take an eye right out.
And yeah, she's at 150. So it allows you to use less gold to up their because you don't have to up their attitude as high to cap it at 150 base. So you can do the calculation and find out, like I say, I believe the formula is on the wiki. So you can find out what combination of persuasion number you start with to know how much gold at level 1 you need to give to raise their attitude up to a point to cap that out. So, and I might have Lord Henry. All that really did was kept Hellish Rebuke in place of Hunger of Hadar. If that's the only thing, I'm not too worried about it. I'll be respecking again once we get to another set of vendors too. So here we're maxed out. So there's a couple of items here to look at. So the first is the Flail of Ages. So this has a special spell, Elemental Age, which is somewhat similar to the Draconic, or the Drakethroat Glaive, in that Elemental Age allows you to put acid damage, cold damage, or fire damage on the Flail of Ages. It only allows you to put it on the Flail of Ages. That's what's different than the Drakethroat Glaive. It does not allow you to apply this to somebody else's weapon. It only applies it to the Flail of Ages. It even says that, I believe. Yeah. Give the Flail of Elemental Ages a +1 bonus to attack rolls and additional damages. You can, when you equip this, you'll have another icon down here. When you click it, you can only click yourself. You're not able to click anybody else. You're not allowed to click a weapon thrown on the ground. So this one only applies to the Flail of Ages, which makes it a little less useful, but still allows you to pick an additional damage type to go along with a +1 flail. Then you have the Deadshot. Now this is almost universally considered to be the best ranged weapon in the game, in that first it lowers the amount you need to roll a crit by 1. This is with a bow. This effect can stack, and this is how you can, one of the items that you need to be able to get your crit chance down to a 12. That is the lowest that I think you can go. I thought it was 13, but I've seen it with 12. So you can be doing crits on 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 rolls. That is 9 out of the possible 20 numbers that you can roll to hit. And it is, given that ability, and the ability to crit with it, is what makes it so special. The other thing is Keen Attack. The wielder doubles their proficiency bonus when rolling ranged attacks with this weapon. And that means our proficiency bonus right now, and let me see if it's showing up here. No. Our proficiency bonus right now is +4. That means that we're doubling that when we're rolling ranged attacks with this weapon, unless we have disadvantage. So you're gaining a massive bonus to hit, and this is what helps offset Sharpshooter. So now when you're gaining that additional bonus to hit, it helps offset the -5 that Sharpshooter is getting. And that allows you to hit with Sharpshooter, which means you're adding a +10 damage. And that's what makes this equal to or slightly better, depending upon what your build is like, to the Titan String Bow that M is talking about. Because that's a flat +10 bonus in damage. So with that and the Titan String Bow, you have to have a +5 strength modifier, which means you have to be utilizing elixirs to get your strength up to a 20 for the most part. You can come up with strength builds where you've started with 17 and you've put the Hag's Hair in and you've done an ability improvement to get you to 20, but then you're missing out on a feat, which for your hard-hitting martial classes you tend to not want to do. So you're dependent upon elixirs to get you there. Now, if you're spending money on elixirs of Cloud Giant strength and you're getting that to a +7 bonus, then that is how you out-damage the Deadshot. But otherwise, the Sharpshooter feat combined with Deadshot is one of the highest ranged damage abilities that you can have. The Titan String is... that's why these two, the Titan String Bow and the Deadshot, are neck and neck depending upon your build. They both take a feat to work for the most part. But this adding the crit chance also on top of it means that it does very, very well for a lot of builds. So we are definitely going to pick that up. For the rest of it here, I don't think she sells anything else that's special. No, she does not. Everything else is just +1 items, but we are definitely going to pick that up. Hers has some stuff in trash bags. We can get rid of all of these plates now. They're worth a good amount of gold. Okay, no other trash. No, doesn't look like it. So we're going to end up spending 325 gold for the dead shot, which is just incredible.
All of my wares are tried and true.
So now we'll go over to Gloomy.
Easier to don some armor than learn to swing a sword. If you can manage the extra
Now for
weight,
Gloomy, again, we have +1 shields here. So it's a reliable way of getting +1 shields. Gloomy is also going to be selling some of the rare dies here. Or the very rare dies, I mean. So you have a good chance, either through level ups or long rests, to come back here and get some really nice dies for your characters. The other thing that Gloomy is selling is the Armor of Agility. And this is the end-all be-all armor for your stealth archer builds. This does the exact same thing with exotic material that the unwanted armor set does, that you can buy, that we looked at a little bit ago from Dammon. So you can add your full dexterity modifier, and you do not impose disadvantage on stealth ability checks. This has a saving throw +2, which is huge, because saving throws are much more relied upon in Act 3 than anywhere else in the game. This is also a 17 armor class, medium armor. The unwanted medium armor from Dammon was a 16 armor class, so this beats it by 1. So this is a straight upgrade in every way. This is the end-all be-all armor for your stealth archer builds. So we are definitely going to pick that up. And actually we're not, because we don't have enough gold on us. That's easily rectified. We do have 21k here. So we'll split off 3,600 or so.
Easier to don some armor than learn to swing a sword. If you can manage the extra weight, that is.
Okay, and again, we're at 150% discount.
Truth be told.
Whoops. Okay, so now we have the dead shot here, and again, the crit basis here is what kind of puts this over the top. Now remember, with Will, we are kind of working that critical base set of stuff with him, so we can actually swap out his Darkfire shortbow with the dead shot to give him an additional way to crit with his Eldritch Blasts. So it's not just for your ranged characters, although it does have bonuses because of keen attack for people who are going to be using a ranged attack more often. And Will doesn't shoot his bow ever. He uses it. He uses Eldritch Blast for the most part. So we are keeping the Titan String down here on Shadowheart because of her bonuses. So we're gonna swap this out with Bow of the Banshee on our character here. And as for the Armor of Agility, so if I compare this with what I've got right now, now here I'm going to be upping this by 1, so now my armor class goes up to 24. I lose the critical hits, but I gain a saving throw +2, which again, here in Act 3 is more important. The previous armor from Dammon, not having that saving throw +2 bonus on it, makes this a winner over my adamantine scale that I was currently utilizing. Okay, so now I believe everything is set. Okay. So yeah, because of my respec, that's what I was afraid of. Thoroughly stuffed does not translate or does not stay when you do a respec. So something to remember, something I should have remembered previously. I have plenty enough. I could do it, but it's something I'll probably do off stream or something like that.
Very well.
Okay. So now for the last 30 minutes here, there are a couple of other things that we can do here to prep ourselves to get ready for the Steel Watch Foundry. Like I said, we're going to prioritize the Steel Watch Foundry, and to do that, we wanted to make sure that we upped our combat power a little bit here before we went ahead and did that. And one of those major things to do is back here at the Basilisk Cave. Now I need to see if Shadowheart, what she has prepped. Actually, we'll do this a different way. Pardon me while I pull up something here. I hadn't planned to do it this way, but I might be able to illustrate something else for you here. Okay, so I'm looking at the loot that I can get from down here. Yeah, because that's what's nice. Yeah, I'm looking at the loot that I can pick up here. Okay, so the last one here is, yeah, that is, I can buy that, but... Okay, so do I want to give up the Amulet of the Devout? Okay. Well, let's go talk about...
No one back home will ever believe this. Another step forward.
This here. This is the Stormshore Tabernacle. And inside here is Vicar Humbletoes.
I want to have a word.
Your patron may not enjoy you shopping around the divine warlock. It bothers me none. Be welcome, child of faith. You have come far, I perceive. How may I serve you this day? I am Vicar Humbletoes, guardian of the Stormshore Tabernacle. I keep the peace in this sacred place and guide those in need. Here, clerics may commune with their gods, and even hear their responses, if they are so favored. I am also granted the power to provide holy resurrection through sales of revivification scrolls. Of course, my child. Within limits. Behold my wares.
News of your good deeds has traveled fast. The merchant is all too happy to extend a certain generosity towards you, where the price of goods is concerned.
Okay, now 3 items that Vicar Humbletoes sells. First, he's going to have a good selection of scrolls. So there are some pretty good ones. The Scroll of Hold Monster is invaluable in Act 3. He's also going to have elixirs of universal resistance. You can buy them here. You can buy them from the rat in the Flaming Fist Barracks. But either way, you have multiple ways of picking those up. But the 3 items that he sells are these. The first is the Sacred Star. So the Sacred Star is really nice in that it's a weapon that deals radiant damage. There aren't a lot of weapons that deal radiant damage by default. Even the Blood of Lathander, which really should deal radiant damage, doesn't. This deals it on strike. And for Shadowheart's build here, with her utilizing radiant damage to be able to deal radiant shockwaves and to inflict reverberation and to inflict radiating orb, the ability to have radiant damage here to proc all of these things on hit with a weapon is really, really good. Now, Nyrulna's doing thunder damage, which also procs reverberation and a condition, which then procs radiating orb. The Sacred Star, compared to Nyrulna, the damages are very similar to each other, in that the Sacred Star is 1d8. Nyrulna, when you're wielding it one-handed, like I am here, is 1d6. That's made up for by 1d6 thunder damage from Nyrulna versus 1d4 radiant damage. And Nyrulna's a +3 weapon versus the Sacred Star being +2. The other thing about Nyrulna is the fact that when you throw it, you deal an additional 3d4 thunder damage. However, that damage is not enemy specific, so it can hurt you as well as other people. So there are times when you are grouped up with a group of people where you might not be able to get the full advantage out of what Nyrulna can do, and the Sacred Star may be able to do that. The other thing you can do is that undead creatures are possibly turned, and the DC here, I believe, is a DC 15. So it's a pretty high DC to be able to turn undead just with a weapon strike, which is very, very useful. On a hit, you're going to also inflict 1 turn of Radiating Orb. So that's a condition, which is then going to proc reverberation. It's going to proc radiant shockwave because it's radiant damage that I'm dealing on hit with this. So enemies around us are also going to gain radiating orb. So the Sacred Star can be really, really good for Shadowheart's build, and I'm definitely going to pick it up. The other thing here is that there is a weapon action here called Dawn Burst Strike. Once per short rest, you deal radiant damage equal to your proficiency bonus, which right now is a +4, I believe. On hit, light erupts around you in a 3-meter area. Enemies in the light must succeed a DC 13 con save or be blinded. So, if if again you're not fighting in darkness, then you have another way here to blind enemies in an AoE around you. And thanks for being here, Andy. I appreciate it. So, and yeah, 2:40 a.m. Go get some sleep. So this is a very useful weapon to pick up, and we're definitely going to do it. The Mantle of the Holy Warrior allows you to cast Crusader's Mantle once per short rest. This is very similar to the Paladin action to gain radiant damage. Crusader's Mantle lasts for 10 turns, not 3 turns, which the Paladin version is. So it is another source of radiant damage that you can get, which can be very useful to Shadowheart here. She's not wearing the Cloak of Protection. She's wearing the Thunderskin Cloak, which we want, because if somebody causes damage to us and they've already got Reverberation, they become dazed. That lowers their armor class, making them easier to hit. But the Crusader's Mantle can be situationally useful. And last is Reviving Hands, and these are actually really good. It allows you to cast Revivify, even if you don't have it as a selected spell. When you heal a creature, it gains the effect of Blade Ward. So this allows you to throw the Blade Ward condition around to anybody that you heal, which can be very nice, especially if you're using something like Mass Cure Wounds or Aid or something like that. And when you revive a creature, it gains the effect of Death Ward. So if you cast Revivify or you use a Revivify scroll, it works on both, then they get Death Ward, which is nice because they come back with 1 hit point when you cast Revivify on them, and they can very easily be taken down again by the next attack, and this allows them to shrug that attack off and come back to 1 hit point again. So these 3, the most useful for me is the Sacred Star. However, the other 2 can be somewhat situationally useful. If you want these items, buy them now. I'm going to buy the Sacred Star. I'm not going to buy any of the others. Okay, because I don't feel I need them at this point. But, well, actually, I'm going to pick up the Reviving Hands too, just on a whim. I want to test something out with that. And what I mean by this is that if you go into the basement here, and you rob the chests, you are not going to be able to trade with Vicar Humbletoes anymore. So, if you want to spend the 400 gold there, because at 1600 gold, I didn't spend 1600 gold, so it wasn't worth it for me to do it. But if you want to spend the gold here to raise his attitude, buy all the items beforehand, because if you do come down here and get the Castigated by Divinity effect, he will stop trading with you. When you talk to him, he will just say, I want nothing to do with you, Defiler, and that will end the conversation. Okay? So, we're not actually going to go do that. What we're going to do is talk about the last thing here inside the Stormshore Tabernacle, and that is the deities that are around the outside here.
I wonder. Better get to it.
Selûne.
Feel the chill gaze of the Moon Maiden upon you. Selûne welcomes you. An inscription reads, "Let all who worship the changing tides of life and knowledge feel the blessings of Selûne. Trust in the purity of my light. See the constancy in its inconstancy, and you will be guided aright. As a moon-bathed cleric, this is your moment to bask in her lunar light and imbue your spirit with her majesty and grace."
So here you can make an offering to any of these statues. There are 4 statues here in the main chamber, and then behind Vicar Humbletoes there's another statue which lets you make an offering to any of the other remaining deities. And there are a lot of deities in the Forgotten Realms pantheon. But they are all available to make an offering to. Now, when you make an offering, it's going to open up your screen here, and you can select items and click donate. You can also select gold to donate as well, and when you do, it's going to pop up and ask you how much you want to donate. The amount to get the blessing from the deity is the same amount that it takes to raise the vendor's attitude to 100. So it is level based. So at a level 11, I think it's 4,500 gold for me to do it. So again, you want to take all of your party members. You want to respec them all to be level 1. Bring your entire party in here and talk to the deities that you want to talk to. You can technically have everybody talk to the same deity if you want. Some of your characters are not going to want to talk to certain deities, and some deities, like with Shadowheart, I can't talk to Shar because Shar rejects my my donation because she doesn't like Shadowheart right now. But then if Shadowheart has sided with Shar, like I did in the Paladin playthrough, you don't even have to donate the gold to Shar to get the blessing. She'll just give it to you. So what you want to do is bring all of your party back here at level 1 and donate 400 gold for each character to a deity. And when you do that, you will get a blessing here. It will show up as a buff. It will say until long rest, but it is actually permanent. It's not permanent. It will persist through long rests. So when you wake up, it will still be there. But what will happen is that if there are certain things, like if you die, that it might disappear. So if it does disappear, you can come back here, pray to that deity again, and it will come back and give you that buff without having to pay gold again. So it's a one-time thing. Now, like Lord Henry said, you can get your money back, because whatever money you donate here to the statues shows up downstairs. And I may need to bring Astarion back for this.
Alright, time to skulk about.
Because I honestly can't remember what this thing is.
Couple turns should do it.
Okay, so it's only 10. And I probably jinxed myself. Okay, so now it's unlocked. Now here, he's faced away, so there's no detection cones that cover you. There is a detection cone that you can be seen from the outside sometimes.
There are traps about.
Okay, so now down in here, there are a bunch of traps. These traps are all DC 10. And all you have to do is disarm the triggers.
Secrecy above all. No time to waste.
There's a trap right there. You don't need to disarm it.
Best avoid that trap. Looks like a trap there.
And there is the other trigger.
I can be subtle sometimes. lies ahead.
Don't need to be in hiding down here.
My faith protects me.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times. Watch how you go. There's a trap.
Okay, and that's all the triggers down here. There are, I don't think there are additional traps either, but those are definitely all the triggers. Okay, so now you don't have to disarm the gas pits. So what's going to happen here is that you've got 5 chests. Okay, you've got 2 on each side here, and 1 in the middle. So this corresponds to the 4 deities that are upstairs. This is Selûne, Mystra, Helm, and Tyr. And then the offering chest here is for the statue behind Vicar Umbletoes upstairs. So whichever statue you donate to, inside of that chest you will find your gold. There may also be some items in there. 3 of these chests have items. The main offering chest, Helm, and Tyr all have specific named items in them that you can loot. The others are going to have some stuff in them that's fairly randomized. But if you steal anything from these chests, you get a Castigated by Divinity debuff. And when you cure that debuff, something happens. And if you're not ready for it, that something can be really, really bad. We're going to talk about that more next week, where we're going to illustrate a couple of different ways to go about doing this. Because there is an amulet in here which I would like to pick up that's in this main chest here. And I think I can probably look at it, yeah, without stealing it. The Amulet of the Devout. This gains you a +2 bonus to spell save DC. This is incredibly useful to help you land those debilitating spells like Hold Monster and that sort of stuff. Gaining a +2 bonus to spell save DC is huge. God's Will is nice. You have an additional Channel Divinity charge, which can be useful for Destructive Wrath on Shadowheart. But gaining that +2 bonus to spell save DC is a massive increase in your percentage chance of being able to land a spell against a high-powered enemy. And ooh, that's an interesting thing, Lord Henry. I may have to test that and see. I may have to test that and see. But we're going to illustrate some of this next week and how we deal with stealing from these chests. Shadowheart also has a spell here, a planar ally spell, which allows you to summon one of 3 specific allies here. A Cambion, a Deva, and a Genie. The Deva here, all 3 of these allies have specific weapons that you are not supposed to be able to get. The Cambion has a flaming sword, the Deva has a mace, and the Genie has a flail, I believe. And those weapons are specific to these 3 different types of characters. All 3 of these different types of characters, a Cambion, a Deva, or a Genie, can also spawn when you get the Castigated by Divinity debuff by stealing from these chests. Which one spawns depends upon which deity you have prayed to upstairs when you do it. If you haven't prayed to anybody, then you are going to get the Deva by default. If you have prayed to a specific one, then you can get the Cambion. Same thing with the Genie. So there are two different ways to get those specific weapons from those types, and we're going to illustrate both of them during our next live stream. What I'm going to do here off stream is I am going to go back to camp, take everybody back to level 1, pray to a deity, get the buff, and then level everybody back up and get ready to do this again. When you get Castigated by Divinity, that's going to remove the debuff, and then you just have to pray to the deity to get it back. So I'm going to respec everybody, bring them back, get everybody the buff, and get ready to do this, because next week we are going to do this buff here. We're going to do one more shopping at one more thing of shopping at a vendor, and then we are going to go all the way forward to the Steel Watcher Foundry, so that we can then come back and deal with Gortash. So next week is going to be a huge episode in the series. We are going to take on a couple of end game bosses, so to speak, in Gortash and the Steel Watcher. The Steel Watcher Titan. So we're going to have a huge encounter next week, and this week has been in preparation for that. Getting our gear, getting our builds kind of fleshed out. I think we'll be fine not being level 12 when we do this. It would be useful if we were, but since we're not, I think we're going to be okay in dealing with it. So with that, I'm going to drop a save here. And now that I've got so many playthroughs going, it takes a while for me to get to a save point. But I would encourage you, if you're interested in the Bard playthrough, to tune in next week, because it's going to be a big episode next week. We are going to have to do one small encounter on our way west to the Steel Watcher Foundry, and we are probably going to go look, because I don't know if I bought... Okay, I bought 3 flash blinders, so I should be fine. Out of sight, out of mind. With that, I think I might have actually bought more than that. Yeah, I did stock up on flash blinders, so we are good for that encounter. Because next week's going to be a doozy. So, as always, thank you all for the interactions here in the chat. I love running through all of the permutations and the testing stuff here for all of you guys. I know this wasn't the most action-packed episode. We did get to fight some Steel Watchers there, and that was good, but normally I like to have a little more action. But that's going to be more than made up for by next week, where we are going to spend almost the entire 3 hours in combat. We are going to take about 30 minutes to get ready and deal with what's here in this room, and then another 30 minutes to get over there, and then I guess 2 hours fully engaged in some very serious combat. And we might not even get to Gortash. Remember, we have to make our way through Worm's Rock, and there's a lot of stuff to beat up on there. So stay tuned next week as we really get into that. So again, thank you all, because without your support, none of this would be possible. This is Commander Jorval saying, until next time, fare thee well.